Welcome to Vacuum Wars, and to our coverage of IFA 2025 in Berlin, Germany, one of the largest technology shows in the world. This year, there were a lot of exciting announcements and releases, especially regarding robot vacuums, but also vacuum mop combos and cordless vacuums. And in this video, I'll summarize all the most interesting things that I saw. So links in the description, and let's get started. One trend I saw was the expansion of the major robot vacuum manufacturers into all kinds of new product classes, including lawnmowers, pool cleaning robots, washing machines, kitchen and bathroom appliances, and more. But since Vacuum Wars focuses mostly on floor cleaning products, I won't cover those types of product announcements here. Starting off with one of the biggest stories in my opinion, which is the rise of the stair-climbing robot vacuums. For the first time, we got a look at how robot vacuum manufacturers are planning to solve the problem of staircases. I first attended the Dreame press event where they announced the CyberX robot vacuum, which comes with their new bionic quad-track stair climbing system. Like the others we'll see, the stair climber is actually a separate robot that the actual robot vacuum enters into, and then the bionic quad-track carries the robot up and down stairs. Dreame's system uses 4 tracks which have large rubber grips, which grip the edges of the stairs to climb up. It also uses an advanced braking system to ensure stability when descending stairs. This was probably the fastest of the stair climbers I saw, but it was also the largest in terms of physical size. MOVA announced the Zeus 60, which is also a separate robot that the robot vacuum enters into, and then the Zeus 60 carries the robot up and down stairs. It uses 2 legs and a more traditional step climbing method, and as a result, it's quite a bit slower than the Dreame's version, but on the other hand, it was significantly smaller and takes up less space. Then there was the Eufy S2 Omni robot vacuum, which was also announced at IFA. It's paired with what they're calling the Mars Walker, which is another robot vacuum stair climbing module. Like the Dreame, it uses 4 rubber tracks that sort of stretch out to climb up and descend stairs. The Mars Walker seems to be similar to the faster speed of the Dreame, but the Mars Walker is much smaller. Eufy was also the only one to have a full demo of this, where the robot was actually entering into the Mars Walker, and the Mars Walker itself would go into its own dock, all of which makes me think that Eufy might be just a bit further along with this than the others. I think it's pretty interesting that all 3 of these manufacturers landed on the same basic solution for this problem. I am a little disappointed that none of these can actually vacuum stairs, but I'll take what I can get. Another big story at IFA this year was that we got more details on the arms race, which started at CES earlier this year, in which Roborock introduced the Z70 with a grabber arm on top for picking up household objects. But now both Dreame and MOVA have announced their own versions. Dreame has an interesting take on this with their Cyber 10 Ultra. The arm is mounted on the top and a cover reveals it. This is different than the Roborock Z70, which is stored internally in the robot housing, which limits things like dustbin size and battery and motor components. So the Cyber 10 having its arm mounted on top preserves that valuable internal real estate. The arm on the Dreame Cyber 10 Ultra has 4 joints, it extends up to 33 centimeters, and it can pick up objects up to 500 grams, which is just over 1 pound. For comparison, the Roborock can do 300 grams. The Dreame Cyber 10 Ultra also is unique because it has different attachments in its dock that it can change out with its arm. For example, it can use a dusting brush like for baseboard cleaning, or even a mini vacuum for vacuuming hard-to-reach places. So it's by far the most useful of these arms, assuming it all works as advertised. MOVA, on the other hand, announced their Sirius 60, which has 2 extending arms, one for grabbing and one for sweeping narrow places. Their arms are mounted on the side near the front. The idea, they say, is that this configuration requires less motor strength. Also, because of the way it's mounted, it frees up some of that valuable real estate we mentioned earlier. It should be noted that MOVA had the most limited demo of the 3 and probably is the most far out from getting to market. While it's still unclear when Dreame or MOVA will release their models, it should be remembered that Roborock already has one of these on the market, the Z70. And Roborock also announced some updates to the Z70 at IFA. For example, the Z70 gains AI object recognition, letting users add and label up to 50 custom items in addition to the 108 that are already pre-programmed. Roborock was also featuring the Curv 2 Pro, which is the European-only flagship. It appears roughly equivalent to the Crevo Curv X in the USA, which we are currently testing and should release a video on soon. Ecovacs had a big booth at IFA, and they had some pretty big announcements at their press conference as well. To me, the biggest story there was the announcement and release of their new flagship, the Deebot X11 Omni Cyclone, which uses a bagless auto-empty station as opposed to disposable bags. They also announced a new battery-related feature with the X11, which they're calling Power Boost technology. This is a combination of hardware and software changes that supercharges the robot when it returns to the base to wash its mop pads during a run. They say that during that 3-minute pit stop, it will charge the battery 6%, which is significant, and they say means it could perpetually clean floor plans. They also announced their own threshold climbing system on the X11, which uses 2 extra drive wheels. We also just purchased an X11 for ourselves and should review it soon. Tineco had a joint press conference with Ecovacs, where the big story was the announcement of their Floor 1 S9 Scientist hard floor cleaner. The S9 Scientist is their new flagship vacuum mop combo, and its standout technologies were streak-free with TMR magnetic sensing, which coordinates suction and water pickup to minimize streaks. For example, on the forward push, the system lifts to apply suction, while on the return pass, it lowers to sweep away water. The S9 Scientist also has lay flat capability, which is a big trend, but it also has the new Hydroburst system, which delivers a high-pressure spray that targets water directly on stains, which I think is a really good idea. Dreame also announced some new hard floor cleaners like the H15 Pro Foam Wash, which should be released in the US soon if it isn't already, but they also announced the H16 Pro Steam and the T16 Ultra, but those apparently won't be released until 2026. The H15 also has a little foam sprayer operated by a button, which again I think is a particularly useful feature for these machines, which helps to remove tougher stains. The H15 also has a robotic mechanism for better edge coverage. It can lay flat. There is a version with steam and one that can work on carpets, which we talked about in a recent video. Bissell was also at IFA, and I had a great time checking out their various demos. I was especially impressed with all of their cleaning solutions and related technologies. Bissell started the hard floor cleaner revolution with the CrossWave, and they were featuring their new CrossWave lineup, which is to be released around October in the United States, the flagship being the CrossWave Edge Find, which is a reference to their pretty impressive ability to clean right up to the edges of walls using a unique brush roll configuration. They also have Bissell's longest battery life yet, and the new Fur Finder headlights, which I'll talk about in a minute. They were also featuring their new cordless stick vacuums, such as the Bissell Power Clean Fur Guard, which has an all-new anti-hair tangling system and an innovative dual-color temperature headlight angled in such a way to reveal hair and other debris on hard floors. The Fur Guard was impressively powerful in the demo, in both stick vacuum mode and handheld mode. Roborock also featured their new F25 Ultra hard floor cleaner. It has dual scrapers for streak-free cleaning, a curved comb wiper that prevents hair tangles, a self-cleaning system that uses high-temperature water, smart dirt detection, lie-flat design, and edge-to-edge cleaning. Roborock also showcased their new H60 series, which is their most aggressive push yet into the cordless stick vacuum market. At the top of the lineup, the H60 Ultra delivers 210 air watts of suction, making it Roborock's most powerful stick vacuum so far. The Ultra also boasts up to 90 minutes of runtime. There were so many more interesting products I could have mentioned, but this video is already getting longer than normal, so I think I will leave it there. Let me know in the comments or give me a like if you like this kind of content. Links in the description to most of what I've mentioned if it is available, and be sure to subscribe to Vacuum Wars before you leave. Thanks for watching. All of the links in the description are updated regularly to reflect our current favorite vacuums in multiple categories. You'll also find links to the Vacuum Wars website in the description, where we have more detailed lists of our favorite products, like our new top 20 robot vacuums list, which is updated weekly.